As you can tell by the screenshot, Poinsettia Passion is what we're all about, and Teresa has done some marvelous things. So we can't wait to have you come play with us. Well, let me first show you what's in the Poinsettia Passion. You can tell we always start with the 12 by 12 papers, and there are 12 of them. This is cardstock, although I just said paper, didn't I? And we also have coordinating a solid cardstock, 12 sheets. The die cuts, number 31. The 6 by 6, there are 24 sheets in there with 88 cutouts. There's also chipboard, and we have a wonderful collection of cutting dies. Merry Christmas, as you would expect. Poinsettias, you might have guessed that. And some really wonderful detail that's going on also. Candles, and it'll be fun to show you how to use that. Something new, a pine tree stacker with 11 cutting dies. There's just so much you can do with this. And also foliage toolkit. Again, so much you can do with it. Well, this is just the beginning. Let's get into our projects. But first, I do want to share the scrapbook page. As you know, Hot Off the Press always has projects on the back of the insert that's in every package. And I love to show you the scrapbook page. So easily done, but beautifully done. You can see the poinsettia, the toolkit, as well as the 12 by 12 papers and the matching solid cardstock. Very nice. Okay, let's get into our first project. We'll get in a bit closer. And what Teresa has done is to use a slimline card, as I'm sure you can tell. So it's measuring 3.5 by 6.5. Now, this is that candle cutting die that I showed you, but let's first start with what else is going on. Now, she has used one of the 12 by 12 papers, and it is actually the one that has the candles on it. And she has used this area for the bottom of her front of her card, so just right there. And what I like about it, although you can't see a lot of it, you do see some of this foliage peeking up, you see the distressed area, and it just creates a more of a background than just a solid would do. So that's what we have there. And then she has taken two of the solids, actually just two of the colors, the red and the wine color, to make her candles. Now, what's great about this cutting die is that you can make as many candles as you want, because you've got the candlestick and you can simply cut it if you want it larger or smaller, longer or taller. And you can make one, you could make, you could even make a scrapbook page with 12 of them across the bottom. Just really, really nice. It is 1 inch wide. Then you have the melting wax, and you'll see how she used the two reds to accomplish that. Now, the candle flame is 2 pieces. Now, Teresa elected to place them right next to each other, and she did them out of the yellow that's in the cardstock. There you go, you can see that. And you can place them next to each other just to make a really big flame, or you can put them on top of each other, as this been demonstrated on the insert. So it's your choice. Now, she's also gone into that foliage. Now, this again is out of that solid cardstock, so you see how this all blends together and works so nicely. And this is that toolkit. Now, here is just one way that you can do it. And she has used the 2 greens, but then she also took one of the forest suede, and you can see that that's the darkest green. So it just gives a bit of texture, as well as the coloring that's going on. Now, the poinsettia, of course, it is the poinsettia cutting die. And you can see that there are 4 petal sizes there, and Teresa has used all of them. And she has cut this out of the tomato suede paper, and it looks a little different, doesn't it? So we'll get in a bit closer if we can do that, Steve. I'm seeing some sparkles here, and that's so easily accomplished. There we go. You can see that. That's with the sparkle glitter pen from Spectrum Noir, and you just brush it across, and you're going to get a sparkly look. And that just works really, really nicely. You can also see that little centerpiece that's been done with this cutting die, so that works out well. Now we have a beautiful Merry Christmas, and of course that was the first cutting die that I showed you, and it measures 3¼ inches wide by 2¼ inches tall. You can see how nicely it frames on this card. And Teresa used the our new metallic cardstock, and this has 2 or 3 sheets in it, and it is a cardstock weight. It's a metallic. We've got a metallic gold and a metallic silver, and you can see just how nice that is. Very pretty. And because it has that cardstock weight, it's going to be attached very nicely. And I know Teresa is a great fan of sticky specs, so I'm not sure what she used, but that would work very well. Now, on the inside of our card, well, we used this part on the front, so she's going to put the candles on the inside. And doesn't that just play really nicely with using the cutting die on the front? And she has matted it on the solid. Enjoy the Holidays is from the die cuts, and that just does a really nice job of completing this lovely, lovely card. Okay, let's get into our next card. We'll take our slim line and set it aside. Now, isn't that pretty? Wow. And let me show you what Teresa used, because it's very simple to do, and I love it when that happens. So what she has done is taken the cardstock that is in the paper collection, okay, so it's this one, and she has cut it to be 6 by 12, so it's 12 by 12. I guess we have to back up, don't we? I'll turn it this way. And she has cut it, and then the plainer side, which is the back of the cardstock, is going to be the front of her card. The inside is going to go right there. So you can see it is going to work nicely. So you cut it from this side. We're not going to use that little cardinal this time. We'll use it some other time, but for now that's going to be saved for a different project. So you can see that wonderful cluster of poinsettias is going to be the inside. So it's the 6 by 12, then you just score it in the middle and fold it. We'll work on the outside of that cardstock. And then what she has done is she has taken this sheet that has that very pretty soft tan pattern, and she has cut a piece of that to go right here. The dimensions are down below in the gallery. This is the second project. You'll see it there. And she has matted that also on the metallic gold cardstock, so that will work nicely. And then she has cut a strip to go sideways, and this is the black that's also in the solid cardstock, and that measurement will be there. That's also matted, and she used the gold border dazzles and placed one on the top and one on the bottom. Just really, really so simple and yet so striking. Now all of the embellishments come from the chipboard pack right there. So you can see the Merry Christmas, you can see the poinsettias, you can see the sprays, and they were all done super simply. And she simply took a Versamark and dabbed it on the pieces that she wanted to use. Now in this case she used the largest and then the next smallest of the poinsettias. She used the holly and the Merry Christmas. So you may want to pop them out first. It's up to you. It doesn't make any difference, but you're going to take the Versamark or any of the Watermark ink pads, really make sure that they're nicely done. Place it onto a piece of scrap paper and pour the gold superfine embossing powder. Now your embossing powder may come in a package like this, or it may come in a tall, narrow container. It's the same product. And then you're going to heat it with a heat gun, and you will have this beautiful look. Now Teresa did take that holly, let me bring it back just to show you, and she snipped it into 3 pieces. One is right there, another one is here, and the third one is right there. And she just glued that to the front of her card. Really nice. Now let's go on to the inside of her card. she's got more of the border dazzles there and there and there, 3 of them. This is a cutout from the paper collection, Celebrate the Season, that she matted on the gold. And then she also had more of the chipboard done the exact same way that she used right here, and just completed it so nicely. Then she did take a piece of the black cardstock, she used a piece here, and then she matted that card on it, and I hope you can see that. Let me see if I've got it. Yeah, I've got a lighter color here. There you go, you can see that black. So it's a little bit larger than a 6x6, okay? So easy to do, and I think you'll agree it's just a stunning, stunning look. Okay, now we've done the poinsettias in a couple of different ways. Now we're going to do something else in just a moment. Before I get too far, remember that cardinal that was in the papers? Well, I just wanted to point out to you that there is available separately. It's not part of the Money Saver, but we do have a cardinal cutting die, and just wanted to point that out in case you wanted to add more cardinals into your paper Christmas collections. Okay, here we go with our next card. Maybe we can get in just a bit tighter. Thank you, Steve. Now, this is another way to do the poinsettias, and isn't this pretty? However, I want to start with how this card is made, because it's really a different style, and I just want you to see that. So, Teresa cut her cardstock down into 8.5 by 11, and then she folded in half this way, unfolded it, and folded it in half this way, and unfolded it. So now you've got that whole 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to place this other piece on top of it so you can see, because she drew a line from one corner to the opposite corner and cut along that line, and you're going to get 2 cards out of this one piece of cardstock. And let me show you how this gets folded. So this is going to go up, and this is going to go in, and this creates the base for this very lovely card. Okay, let me show you how this card opens. And just like that, and just like that. Okay, so to the side and down is how Teresa formed hers. So you can do it like that, or you can do it any way you like. But what's really fun is how it reveals different things. So you see this large piece, and there's a smaller one under it, and then inside there's more, okay? So let's get started. So that's how you make the base of it. And then what Teresa has done is she has used the 6x6 poinsettia passion paper. And what I love about a sheet like this is that when you use it in pieces, as Teresa has done here, you get flowers on every single section. And I love how that wreath provides that. Now, to give you a perfect size of paper to fit within your card shape, Teresa has a download for us. And this is under the card number 3. You can see it, it's on the left-hand side. After the supply list, you'll see download. You can just print it off, and that will come in very handy, because I have a feeling that this is a great style of card to duplicate. Now, so she has placed one piece here and another piece here, and that is taking care of that. And then she has gone into the die cuts, and let me bring that out. So you get 31 pieces. They're just going to pop right out. They all have a mat, and 'Tis the Season is going to go right there. Now when you put it down, you're just going to want to attach it just to the top base, okay? Don't glue it down, or you won't be able to open your card. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Now, you can see that she's got quite a bit going on this card. Now, one thing that she's done is that she has added the fancy border dazzles. There's a piece at the top and a piece right here. There's probably some on the inside too, but you want to place that now before we get these other embellishments in place, okay? Now, what Teresa has done is she has used the glitter foam, and we bring this in from Holland, and that's why you don't see it many places. Now this is titled the red and white, but as you can see, there are 2 shades of pink also in it. It's just very easy to cut out with the cutting dies, and this again is our poinsettias, and I thought I would just show you how this is done in case you haven't seen it. Now you will need a heat source, and we use an iron, except we have this little mini iron. I do need to tell you there are very few of these left, so if it's something you're interested in, you might want to get it now. You don't have to have this. You can use just a regular iron. You want it onto a medium setting, and you can see the light on, which is telling me it's warm. And what you do is to place your cut out poinsettia, and all of these were done. This is the large one, the medium, and this one. We didn't do the tiny one, okay? We did do the tiny one for down here, but not for this larger piece. So what you do is to place it onto the iron and let it get warm, and it's going to shrink a little bit, and then it's going to puff. And you can see that going on. And as that's happening, I don't want to touch it with my fingers, so I use the tweezers, and that just works nicely. So that's doing its magic, and I'll pull that off and just put another one on. There you go. And I can see the sparkling, but it just curves it just a bit. You can really see it on her card, and it does shrink a bit, as I said. And then you're going to attach them with glue. You can certainly use foam tape, and you're going to offset them. And you see how that's curving? And this is the top one. And then, as I said, there is red and white, as well as the 2 pinks in that package. So the white you can use for the center. It's that cute little piece right there. She did 2 of them and offset them. And then she went into the foliage. There you go. Now when you have a thinner foam, it's going to curve even more. But you can see what's happening here. And then this is going to go right on top. But again, you would want to do that with glue and let them curl as they want to, or as they're warm, you can curve them even more, or you could even pinch them if you wanted to. Okay? Now, Teresa placed those here. She stacked them and glued them together. Then she went into that toolkit again, and this is using the solid cardstock as well as the forest suede. So that forest suede does double duty in a lot of these. She also used the white that is in the glitter foam to do these little berries, and that just adds. So you just see how it just really makes that pretty little swag. There's another little piece down here. You can see how that's going on. Now she did want more sparkle and she used the pink jewel dazzles. There's 540 on that sheet. She did them, placed them in the center of the poinsettia as well as along the borders and right there. Okay, now going to the inside, Teresa pulled this paper. We saw it earlier in the 12 by 12 version, but she did it right here. And she added the fancy border dazzles, the pink dazzles right there. And then here are one of the die cuts and one of the cutouts, the Happy Holidays. Again, you can see they're matted for you in many cases. And then more of the poinsettias down here, a little bit of that toolkit. This is one of the cutouts, excuse me, this is one of the die cuts also. And just like that. And as I said, you can make 2 cards. So whether you want your poinsettias to be bright red or shades of pink or white or whatever, I think we've got it covered for you. Okay, I have 2 more cards to share with you. And this is a different card that I had not seen before. And Teresa called it a little envelope card. So it's a kind of something different. And, oh, I'm sorry, a fold and tuck card, okay. So you can see where it's tucking. Now, let me pull this out, and I'm hoping that in this dark area you're seeing the art that's there, because there's some scuffing and some design back there. Again, the poinsettias are taking center stage, but let me lift this. You can see it's going to tuck out of that corner piece, just like so. And I'm going to lift it and show you the inside. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we're going to start with our regular 5 by 6.5 inch card. I'm going to turn it sideways so it's 6.5 by 5. Then what Teresa did is she cut 2.5 inches off the opening edge, and that is going to create this piece, okay? Now, she did put some of the cardstock on it, and let me find that for you. Okay, we used this earlier, but this is the upper area that she glued to the top part of her card flap right there. So glued that. Again, she's cutting it smaller than this area. The measurement is in the gallery already for you. Now, she has a second piece that she has cut, and this is out of this sheet of cardstock, of pattern cardstock. And this is the one with the pocket watch on it, but we're not using that. We're using the dark area. In fact, you can see that she let some of the poinsettias show. So it's probably going to be, let me see, I think it's this area. Okay, and that way she has some foliage behind the foliage. It just gives a little bit like that candle card. It gives a little bit more depth. So that's going to be the piece that she's going to cut. And by the way, while I've got the pocket watch there, I just wanted to let you know that we do have a pocket watch cutting die. So if that's of interest, this is available, and it's separate. Okay, so I just wanted to show that to you. Now, she matted that, and then it gets glued just to that top part, okay? Now, to create this little corner treatment, she took a piece of cardstock that measures 3 by 1.5, and then she put a dot in the middle, so it's going to be 1.5 inches, and did a score line, drew a line going from that point to the outside corner and then to the opposite corner. Then these two are going to get folded, and they're going to go like that. They're going to get glued to the back of the card, and that way it's going to hold that front flap in place. So hence the fold and tuck measure of this card. Now, what she did here was to use the red cardstock, and then she used one of the cutouts. It goes right here, okay? Now for the inside of her card, she is back to this wonderful wreath. And again, as you can see, whenever you cut a piece of it, you've got more foliage left to go all the way around, and I think that's just a nice bonus. Now, for her piece on earth and her circle, those come from right here, from the die cuts. So there you go, that gets glued down flat, as well as the piece on earth is also one of the die cuts. You can see it right there. And the poinsettias again. And just one thing, and I think you can see it here, and Steve, we may get in really close here, if you will. On the poinsettias, you will see that you're really going to get a raised edge on the inside of them, and that was a design that Deanna did on purpose, of course, but to give you extra dimension. And doesn't that look nice? Now, Teresa used these sparkles. This is from Hunky Dory. This is their Christmas set. You can see the design team has been into this, but you get all of those, and that's what she has used on the center of her poinsettias on all three of them. And this just gets tucked in, and very nice. There you go. Very pretty, isn't it? All of that doing so beautifully. And this is the cream, the Merlot suede. I guess I should show you that, shouldn't I? So this is the tomato, Merlot. There's also the green that I showed you earlier. I think I showed you that 4 times, didn't I? And then there's also a cream, which you can see has been used on the berries. So all of those suedes, and they die cut beautifully. Okay, one more card, and it's really a different card. So I don't know where she gets her ideas, but I love the fact that we can share them with you. Look at this card. This card doesn't fold closed. It arrives just like this, but it stands, as you can see. And isn't that fun? Okay, so what she has done, she didn't give me a title for this, but she did show me how to do it. Okay, so we're going to take a piece of cardstock that is measuring 5 by 6.5. Then we're going to score it in the middle. That's going to be our base. And then we're going to take 2 more pieces. In fact, Teresa did this little mock-up for me. So this is your 6.5 by 5. Then there's going to be a 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. And you want to tear the top of that. Then you're going to score 3/8 of an inch on each side and put our extra sticky tape on that. This is the kind with the orange liner. That way, because this card gets a lot of stress, so we want to make sure we have an adhesive that's not going to pop away. So that's going to go there. Then we have another one that's 7 1/4 by 2, same idea. You're going to tear the top, and then you're going to do the 3/8 inch on each side, and this is going to go in. And so you will attach it like this. So here we have that base that's been folded in half. We're going to attach the larger one first. We're going to line up the score lines and fold these back, and that's just going to get placed even with the bottom. And then this piece, same thing. These are going to get folded back. This is going to get placed even with the bottom. And this one doesn't have a score line, okay, because it's not going to get folded. So here we have our finished card with our snowfalls nicely arranged. Okay, now what Teresa has used on the back panels is this paper. It's the Cardinal one, and you could either use that top area or you could use the back of it, your choice. And she's got 2 pieces going on each, 1 piece on each of the panels. Now, there isn't a whole lot that you're going to do back here. This is one of the die cuts, and that's going to get foam taped. But then you can play with the trees, and that's more of the stacker. Now, Teresa elected to use the 2 colors of cardstock that are in the solid cardstock. But you can also notice as you're stacking them, there are some pieces that look like a complete tree. Well, she has used those to fill in her forest. And how fun is that? Really, really nice. Now, she also took advantage of that sparkle brush pen, and I think you can see some of the sparkle on those trees. Well, again, just brush it on, and it dries very, very quickly. And enjoy the season. It's been foam taped on top. Those snowflakes come from, appropriately entitled, our Snowflake Dazzles. Now there's over 500 there. They're in white, they're in silver, they're in blue, they're in teal, and she has placed those in the background. And then she's also added some silver jewel dazzles, silver border dazzles along the top and the bottom, just to really finish off the shine of that card. Really fun, so easy to do, and a really fun thing because it's going to stand up and it's going to give you great use to maximize that cutting die, don't you think? Okay, well, this is our Poinsettia Passion. You can see we've got a passion for it in all of the cards. So we have the 12 by 12 patterned cardstock, the solid cardstock, the die cuts that you saw, the 6 by 6 that do so well, the chipboard that you can just add so many things, and then all of these cutting dies really to be used not only this Christmas, but every Christmas. And I really think that the candle, like the tree, actually many of these can go into lots of other seasons. And of course, we're going to top it off with that Merry Christmas. So that's the beginning. We have officially launched Christmas with our Poinsettia passion. And thank you so much, Teresa. As always, a wonderful job. Deanna, you did a great thing with all of these cutting dies. So appreciate it. And I want to thank you for joining us. Now, we do have a money saver. You know, it's over there on the right side of your screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, please come on over and join us. We'd love to have you as part of the family. And thank you being the very best part of our Paper Wishes family. See you next time.